The whisper in the stars, the galaxy was vast and endless, filled with empires that had ruled for thousands of years. Alien civilizations stretched across countless systems, each one believing it had mastered the art of war. To them, humans were new, a young species still learning how to survive beyond its own small planet. Many alien leaders laughed at the thought that humanity could stand against them. Yet in the quiet halls of command centers, in the dark chambers of alien councils, whispers began to spread. They were not shouts or bold declarations, but small trembling words carried from one commander to another. The whispers said something strange, something impossible. The humans you see now are not their real strength. Their true army has not even arrived yet. At first, most dismissed it as a story meant to frighten the weak. What kind of species would fight with only a part of their power? What kind of species would allow half the galaxy to see them bleed, only to reveal that the true war had not even started? But as the months passed, those whispers grew louder. The galaxy began to notice things that did not make sense. On the outer rim, a single human fleet of 20 ships had faced an alien armada of 300. The battle was supposed to last a few minutes. Instead, the human fleet held for hours, inflicting heavy losses before retreating into the void. Survivors swore that the humans fought like no other. They did not surrender and they did not break. Their tactics were strange, unpredictable, and terrifyingly effective. Reports piled up across different sectors. Human forces fought small battles, often outnumbered, yet they managed to win, or at least escape with far fewer losses than expected. Alien generals started to ask the same question. If these small groups of humans can fight like this, what would happen if their full army appeared? In one distant system, an alien officer named Kareth stood before a star map glowing with red markers. Each red dot was a place where humans had fought. Each red dot was a reminder of battles that should have been victories, but ended in confusion or retreat. Kareth felt uneasy. He remembered the words of a dying human soldier captured after one of the skirmishes. The man had looked into his eyes, calm even in pain, and whispered, "You have not seen us yet." These are only the first steps. That memory haunted him. What did the soldier mean? Were these fleets just scouts? Were these battles just tests? Kareth reported his worries to the High Council, but they only laughed. "Humans are nothing," they said. "They are a small fire in the dark. We are storms that have lasted for millennia." But Kareth was not the only one who felt uneasy. Across the galaxy, other commanders felt the same cold fear. The humans they had seen were dangerous enough, but if the whispers were true, then what lay hidden behind the curtain? Out in the void, a convoy of alien ships drifted through a nebula of golden gas. Suddenly, a human strike force appeared from hyperspace. The aliens panicked, for they had not even detected the humans' approach. Within minutes, the convoy was destroyed, and only one alien ship survived to tell the story. The survivor said something that spread fear through the Empire. The humans fought with the precision of a people who were holding back. Back on alien worlds, ordinary citizens heard pieces of these stories. In taverns and marketplaces, rumors spread like fire. The humans are stronger than they appear. The humans are hiding something. This is not their real army. Some dismissed the talk as fear-mongering, but others began to believe. After all, why did humans fight in such small numbers? Why did they never send massive fleets? Why were their soldiers so calm even in defeat? It was as if they knew something the galaxy did not. On Earth, the truth was buried deep in silence. The small fleets fighting on the edges of alien space were not the main strength of humanity. They were expeditionary forces, fragments sent to test and learn. Behind them, hidden far from alien eyes, was something much larger, something that had not yet been unleashed. The galaxy looked at humanity and thought it saw weakness. What it did not see was patience. Humanity was waiting. Humanity was watching, and when the time was right, the galaxy would understand what the whispers had meant all along. In a chamber filled with shadows, alien leaders gathered once more. Reports came in one after another. Human fleets appearing where no fleet should have been, human soldiers fighting with strategies that broke every rule of war, and always the same terrible whisper behind it all. The real army has not even arrived yet. A silence fell across the chamber. For the first time, the leaders did not laugh. For the first time, they felt the same fear their soldiers felt. Somewhere in the stars, humanity was holding back its greatest power, and no one knew when it would arrive. The stars outside the window burned with cold light as if they too waited for what was coming. The first encounter. The first true meeting came at the edge of a dying star. Its light was weak, a pale red glow spreading across empty space. Around it, debris drifted like silent ghosts of planets long dead. It was there that an alien armada of 300 ships gathered, waiting for the human fleet they had hunted for weeks. The aliens were certain of victory. Their ships were larger, their weapons more advanced, their numbers overwhelming. In their command center, laughter filled the air. They spoke of crushing humans in minutes, of returning home as heroes, of reminding the galaxy that no one could stand against their empire. Then the humans arrived. Only 20 ships emerged from hyperspace, their engines flaring bright against the dying star. To the aliens, it was pitiful. 20 against 300 was nothing more than suicide. Their commander gave the order at once: destroy them, leave nothing behind. But the battle did not unfold as expected. The human ships did not scatter or flee. They formed into a tight spear-shaped formation and moved with sharp precision. Their weapons fired not wildly but in perfect rhythm, striking key targets again and again. Alien ships that should have survived many hits fell apart under the focused human fire. The aliens had numbers, but they lacked unity. Their captains shouted over each other. Their formations broke apart, and panic spread faster than orders. Against them, the humans moved like one mind, every ship flowing as if part of a larger design. An alien officer stared at his screens in disbelief. They fight as if they know every move we will make. Within minutes, 20 human ships had torn through the first line of the alien armada. Explosions lit the void, the burning remains drifting like dying stars. The aliens pushed harder, sending waves of ships forward, but the humans adapted, shifting tactics with frightening speed. For every human ship destroyed, 10 alien ships fell. The battle lasted hours. The aliens could not understand how such a small force endured for so long. They had studied humans, called them weak, called them reckless, called them children in the galaxy of giants. But these children were tearing their armada apart piece by piece. On the bridge of his flagship, Commander Varoth gritted his teeth. This was not a battle anymore, it was a nightmare. His forces outnumbered the humans 15-1, yet victory slipped further from his grasp with every passing moment. He shouted orders, demanded more fire, demanded focus, but fear had already taken root in his fleet. Then, as suddenly as they had appeared, the human ships broke away. Engines roared and they vanished into hyperspace. They did not wait for the battle to end. They had made their point and disappeared before the Empire could regroup. Silence fell across the remains of the battlefield. More than 100 alien ships floated in ruins while the humans had lost only a handful. Survivors picked up escape pods, repaired their damaged vessels, and counted their losses. Commander Varoth sat in silence, staring at the empty void where the humans had been. His victory was meaningless. Yes, he had more ships left standing, but the truth was clear. The humans had won. They had fought 300 with only 20, and they had walked away on their own terms. Word spread quickly. Fleets whispered of the impossible battle. Councils argued in panic. Was it luck? Was it chance? Or was it something more terrifying? A captured human pilot, pulled from a damaged fighter, gave the galaxy an answer. He was wounded but calm, his voice steady as he spoke to his alien interrogators. "You still do not understand," he said. "This is not our true army. What you faced today was only a fraction. We are still waiting." The interrogators demanded to know what he meant, but the man only smiled. That smile haunted them more than his words. Across alien space, fear grew. Citizens who had once mocked humans now spoke of them with caution. Children in schools whispered stories about the tiny fleets that fought like giants. Merchants traded rumors faster than goods. The whispers from before had become something heavier, something no one could laugh at anymore. Even in the great halls of the Empire, doubt took root. Some council members demanded stronger fleets at the borders. Others called for peace before it was too late. But the proud and the arrogant still raised their voices above the rest. They are only humans. They bleed, they die, and we will crush them. Yet every commander who had seen battle against them knew the truth. Something greater was hidden in the shadows. If these small fleets could carve their way through entire armadas, what would happen when the real human army finally appeared? The stars around the dying sun slowly dimmed, swallowed by drifting debris and cold silence. To the Empire, the battle was over. But to the galaxy it was only the beginning. The first encounter was not a victory for the Empire, it was a warning, and warnings, if ignored, always return louder. Panic across the Empire. The galaxy had seen many wars before. Whole species had risen and fallen in battles that stretched across centuries, but something about the humans felt different. They were not the oldest, not the strongest, not the most advanced, yet they kept surviving battles they should have lost, and whispers of their hidden strength spread like fire through dry grass. In the great council chamber of the Empire, leaders sat in high towers of silver and stone. Their voices filled the air with anger and pride. "The humans are weak," one declared. "Their small victories are nothing but accidents." Another shouted, "We have crushed stronger enemies before. They will fall the same way." But beneath their words was unease. Commanders who had faced humans sent reports filled with warnings. They spoke of strange tactics, of unity that no alien fleet could match, of soldiers who refused to surrender even when death was certain. They wrote of something darker too, the calm way humans fought as if they were not showing everything. The whispers returned again. "The real army has not even arrived yet." On distant colonies, citizens repeated the rumors with shaking voices. In marketplaces, merchants argued whether the stories were lies or truth. "How can 20 ships defeat 300? One asked. Another answered softly, "Maybe because they are not fighting with their full strength." Mothers told children not to speak of humans at night, as if the words themselves could summon them from the void. For the first time in centuries, the Empire felt fear. A counselor named Atheron stood before the chamber. His voice was not loud, but it carried weight. "My lords, you ignore the truth. The humans are not like the enemies we have faced. Their fleets are small, but their will is unbreakable, and if the whispers are true, then we are fighting shadows while the real storm gathers unseen." The chamber erupted with laughter from the proud. "Storm, they are dust. They are nothing." Yet others remained silent, their eyes heavy with doubt. In the shadows of the Empire's cities, secret meetings took place. Traders who had seen the human front lines spoke of wreckage scattered across stars, of alien armadas left in ruins by fleets too small to matter. Some even claimed humans had weapons never seen before, though no one could prove it. One night in the prison of a border world, an alien interrogator sat across from a captured human soldier. The man's uniform was torn, his face bloodied, but his eyes burned with steady fire. The interrogator demanded answers. "Why do your people fight like this? Why do you throw away your lives in hopeless battles?" The human smiled faintly. "Hopeless? You still think these are hopeless battles? No, we fight because we already know how this ends." The interrogator slammed the table. "What do you mean?" The soldier leaned closer and whispered, "What you see now is not our real strength. The true army has not even arrived yet." The interrogator froze. Those words, spoken in the quiet of a prison cell, echoed the same whispers spreading through the galaxy. Fear settled in his bones. He said nothing more, for he knew the Empire would not believe him. Back on the homeworld of the Empire, panic began to show in subtle ways. Citizens stocked supplies, ships left the docks under false names, fleeing to distant systems. Even among the soldiers, confidence cracked. Some began to question their leaders. Others whispered that perhaps peace should be made before the storm came. But pride is a heavy chain. The Empire's rulers chose arrogance over caution. They declared new campaigns, promised new victories, and ordered more fleets to the front. "We will drown the humans in fire," they said. "We will erase their name from the stars." Yet every victory they promised was followed by new reports of failure. Fleets sent to crush humans returned broken, or never returned at all, and always the survivors spoke the same chilling truth. The humans had not fought with overwhelming numbers. They had fought with small forces, scattered fleets, yet they still bled the Empire dry. In the private chambers of commanders, silence replaced laughter. Maps were marked with too many red scars. Predictions that once promised easy triumph now showed the Empire slowly bleeding against an enemy that refused to die. And in the quiet corners of alien cities, children played a new game. They drew ships in the dirt, placing one tiny human vessel against a dozen alien ones. The child playing the human always won. The others laughed nervously, but in their laughter was fear. The galaxy trembled, though it tried not to admit it. The Empire's leaders still shouted about strength, but their words rang hollow. Everyone knew the truth whispered beneath the noise. If small fleets of humans could do this much, Then the day the real human army arrived would be the day the galaxy itself would change forever. And far away, beyond the borders of alien sight, something vast was indeed stirring. Humanity was patient. Humanity was watching. And the whispers were no longer just rumors. They were warnings. The shadow of the true army. The Empire told its people that fear was weakness. Leaders stood on bright stages, their voices carried through giant screens, declaring that humanity was no more than a small nuisance. They bleed like all creatures, one shouted. They break like all enemies. We will erase their fleets. But the shadows told another story. Deep in space, near the borders where stars flickered weakly, strange signals began to appear. Alien sensors picked up movements that made no sense. Fleets were reported in places they should not have been. Entire human groups appeared without warning, struck with precision and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. In one system, an alien scout ship recorded something impossible. A massive outline moved across the dark, larger than any human vessel previously seen. Its surface gleamed faintly with thousands of lights like a city drifting in the void. The scout fled, but before it escaped, a single human fighter chased it down. The scout's last transmission sent shockwaves through command centers. This is not like the others. This is something else. That report was buried quickly by the Empire, hidden under orders to silence all talk. But secrets do not stay buried. Soon the story leaked, spreading from ship to ship, world to world. People began to ask questions. If humans had larger fleets, why had they not used them? What were they waiting for? Rumors grew heavier. Some claimed the humans had carriers the size of moons hidden far from alien sight. Others whispered that entire fleets slept in silence, waiting for a signal to awaken. No one knew the truth, but all felt the same fear. In the council chambers, arguments grew louder. Commanders slammed their fists against tables, demanding the truth from their leaders. "We cannot win against ghosts," one cried. "If these are only fragments of their power, then we are fighting shadows while the storm waits behind them." Still, prideful voices resisted. "They cannot be stronger than us. They are too young, too new. The galaxy belongs to us, not them." But even as those words were spoken, strange reports poured in. Fleets destroyed without warning. Colonies left in silence, their defenses broken. And always, whispers of something larger moving just beyond the edge of sight. On a lonely outpost at the rim of known space, a watch officer named Relth sat before his console. His sensors picked up something unusual, a faint echo of movement too large to be a single ship. He adjusted his equipment, heart pounding. The echo grew clearer. It was not one vessel. It was many, hundreds, maybe thousands. His hands shook as he sent the report. "There is something out here. A shadow fleet. They are moving together. Too many to count." The last message from Relth was filled with static. No one heard from that outpost again. The Empire tried to silence these warnings, but the galaxy itself was not blind. Traders traveling between stars whispered of human war machines drifting like silent mountains. Pilots spoke of seeing whole constellations blink out, as if something enormous had passed in front of them. Ordinary citizens began to look at the sky differently. What if the humans were already here, waiting above? What if every star carried their watchful eyes? The whispers returned, stronger now. The real army has not even arrived yet. But this time, some began to add more. Maybe it already has. Among the humans, silence ruled. Their leaders gave no speeches. Their fleets revealed no secrets. To the galaxy, they remained scattered raiders, striking and vanishing. But beneath that mask, something vast was unfolding. Entire armadas were moving through wormholes unknown to alien science. Carriers the size of cities drifted forward, their decks filled with soldiers who had not yet fired a single shot. The galaxy trembled because it could sense the truth, even if no one could yet see it clearly. Humanity was preparing. The shadows of their true strength were already pressing against the borders of known space. One night in the great capital of the Empire, a soldier walked alone down empty streets. He looked up at the stars and remembered the words of a captured human years before. "You have not seen us yet. These are only the first steps," the soldier whispered to himself, voice shaking. "If this is only the beginning, what happens when the end arrives?" The stars above gave no answer, but the shadows between them seemed to move, as if something vast was shifting in the darkness. The arrival for years, the galaxy had lived with whispers. They had spoken in shadows, in taverns and council halls. They had mocked the idea, laughed at the rumors, silenced the voices who warned them. Yet somewhere deep inside, even the proudest alien rulers had felt it, a cold truth waiting to reveal itself. The truth arrived without warning. In a lonely sector where the stars burned pale and weak, an alien fleet drifted. They had been sent to watch for humans, to record movements and guard the borders. For days nothing happened. The void was silent. Then the silence broke, sensors screamed. Space itself seemed to ripple as if the universe were pulling back a curtain. One by one, massive human ships emerged from hyperspace. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. They filled the black sky like an endless wall of steel and fire. Carriers as large as cities, cruisers bristling with weapons never seen before, dreadnoughts whose shadows swallowed whole moons. Their lights burned so bright that for a moment it seemed as if new constellations had been born. The alien fleet froze. Their captains whispered to each other, voices breaking with fear. This cannot be real. This is not possible. But it was real. Humanity's true army had arrived. The first shot was not fired by humans. It came from the terrified hand of an alien commander who could not bear the silence of that endless fleet. His weapons blazed into the void, striking against the lead human carrier. The shot vanished into its armor, leaving no scar. Then the humans answered. The sky erupted. Weapons of light and fire cut through the alien ships with terrifying precision. Entire squadrons disappeared in seconds. Alien captains shouted orders, but there was no order left. Against the tide of human warships, their fleets were nothing more than sand before a storm. A single alien officer watched the battle unfold on his screen. His hands shook as he whispered the words so many had already spoken. The real army. It was never here until now. Across the Empire, panic consumed every world. Messages poured in. Outposts were overrun. Fleets vanished. Colonies burned. The human armadas moved like a flood, coordinated with perfect unity, every strike falling where it would cause the most pain. But the most terrifying truth was not the weapons or the ships. It was the way the humans fought. Calm. Silent. As if this was not rage or revenge. It was duty. It was purpose. The galaxy had mocked them as reckless, as weak, as inexperienced. Now the galaxy saw the truth. Humans were patient. They had waited. They had studied. And when the time came, they unleashed everything at once. The Empire's rulers gathered in their great chamber, voices breaking in terror. We cannot fight this. We cannot win. We must surrender. Others shouted, no, we must resist. But even as they argued, the truth was already written in fire across their skies. Their time was over. In one ruined system, survivors drifted among burning wreckage. They stared at the endless horizon of human ships that stretched across the void. For a long time, no one spoke. Then an old alien whispered the only words that mattered. This is the beginning of a new age. On human carriers, soldiers stood in silent rows. They did not cheer. They did not sing. They simply prepared, their eyes forward, their hands steady. To them, this was not glory. This was survival. Humanity had always fought this way. Against nature. Against each other. Against every threat that rose to destroy them. Now the galaxy itself had learned what it meant to face them. And so the whispers ended. There was no need for rumors anymore. The truth stood before all, too vast to deny. The galaxy had thought it understood war. The galaxy had thought it had seen armies. But it had been wrong. War was only now beginning.